And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast where disabled people complain about free money.
Get ready for all the entitled comments. So like that we're entitled.
So, we thought that we would chat today about my video that I made, The Welfare Trap Disabled Man Complains About Free Money. It vibed with a lot of people. I was really nervous about releasing it because I thought that it might come across as a little bit entitled. If you haven't watched the video, it's basically me saying that the system is kind of like I feel like I've got a lot of untapped potential, and I would really like to work a lot more. Yeah, just sort of like touching on the things that we spoke about last week as well, like my employer not employing me next winter. It's just kind of like, yeah, just. And then it vibed with loads of people, and especially Brittany. She messaged me saying, "Oh man, that literally put into words how I feel." So we're just gonna discuss it. So Britt, why don't
Yeah.
you tell me your thoughts?
I thought it was really, first of all, like it's a brave video because there's so many people out there that are willing to jump on anybody and call them entitled or whatever if you have something legitimate to complain about. And just because we have something good, like two things can be true at the same time. You can be super grateful for the money that you get from the government that allows you to, be comfortably uh like live comfortably without having to like worry so much, but you can also feel that it's holding you back a little bit. Like those two things can be true at the same time. But so first of all, yeah, I thought it was really brave. But it's like it summed up exactly how I feel. And I always joke that like my husband funds my lifestyle, and like it's not funny, but it is. Like it's true though. Like my husband has a great job, and he's a provider for our family. That's part of his identity. And so I don't necessarily have to like do that much to be like financially stable, right? Could we have way more money? For sure. But are we like decently comfortable? Yes. And so it's one of those things that I'm like, what motivation do I have to go out and expend my energy to make more money when I'm like, especially when I do a lot of the time wrap my identity into like I'm a mom, and
Mm.
I have to keep the house clean and like all of these things. Um and so I allow that to really, I don't know, stifle my potential.
Mm.
And I'm just feeling very much like I don't have a purpose. Like, what is my purpose beyond doing the laundry and cleaning toilets? Like, there's got to be something more to life than this. And I know a lot of people look at us like we do this podcast and we try to make YouTube videos. So people look at us like, oh, you have a purpose. Like, what are you talking about? But there has to be something that's like monetarily like compensating you for the things that I feel like you are purposeful for. Otherwise, it's just a very expensive hobby. And I love helping people, and I do want to help as many people for free as possible, but I also want to contribute financially to my family's
Mm.
well being. And it just feels like, yeah, when you don't have that, it feels a little odd. And I don't know if that's a societal issue. Like maybe we're just making this shit up in our head that we don't have value unless we contribute monetarily, but it feels like that sometimes. So yeah,
Mm.
I related really well to it. And I thought, especially for a lot of people who are on government assistance, um, it is a welfare trap because you're just like, should I expend energy, potentially get bladder infections, get pressure sores, be out of the house all the time, have nerve pain, all of these things just to make an extra however much a month? Like, does it make sense for
Mm.
health wise, mental health, physical, like energy wise, all that?
Yeah. So you make a really good point. I was really nervous about releasing the video because I didn't want to come across as entitled or ungrateful. But I was really reassured with the amount of comments that I received, and some of them were like multiple paragraphs, like sometimes like 6 paragraphs from people that were like, "Oh my god, I resonate with that so much. Thank you for putting that into words." And I wanted to highlight one of the comments here, which I pinned actually. I want to read it out actually. When I see that great desire in your eyes, I can deeply relate. 2 years ago, I was riding my road bike to work when I had a serious accident that left me with an incomplete T7 paraplegia. I still stand and use a walking frame, but I continue to face various physical consequences of my spinal cord injury. I live in Australia, and I'm fortunate enough to receive the financial support provided to people with disabilities. I used to work as a senior electrical engineer, and I believe it's a shame that I am no longer using my experience and knowledge to contribute to projects that could benefit others. I truly want to make a meaningful contribution to the world. Although my physical abilities are far more limited than before the accident, I am eager to work again, not only to feel better about myself, but to also give back. As you said, it's a wonderful feeling to be valued in society. Regardless of the amount of work we can do, it's deeply rewarding to know that we can still make a difference. I highlighted this because it just really struck a chord with me. Like, it's exactly how I feel. Like, I want to make a difference. I want to do something. I want to feel valued by society. I want to feel proud of myself. And, you know, down the line, if I have a child and, you know, and me and Chris get married, then I want her to be like, oh, that's my husband, you know, and that's my daddy, you know, and he does something, you know, of value. He provides value, you know, rather than like, oh yeah, he just stays at home all day. And like, again, it wouldn't even matter that much if I stayed at home and contributed towards the housekeeping and was like a really hands-on dad. Like, there is such a beautiful thing about receiving disability benefits, but it does keep you trapped. It provides a lot of security, but it keeps me small. And I just feel like I've got so much untapped potential that's just bursting out of me that I want to like do something of value, like provide value, like I did before my accident, you know, like there was. And you mentioned something about identity is so big. I'm like, what like, I claim a disability check and I stay at home a lot. Like, that doesn't really do much for my sense of worth and like my identity. Like, who am I? Like, yeah, I'm the wheelchair guy on YouTube and like I do a podcast and I do a few magic tricks, but it doesn't fill me up the same, you know what I mean, as some sort of worthwhile endeavor that also has a wage attached to it, you know. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
I think that there's part of there's a comfort level too that like you get stuck in, because I was actually just looking through my like my Google Drive, and I came across some stuff that I was doing, like, I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago, when I used to be like, I manage a nonprofit. And I didn't get paid a lot for it. Like, I maybe made like $500 to $1,000 a month, but I started a nonprofit here that was like a chapter of a bigger nonprofit organization. I recruited volunteers. I got funding for it. Like, I did all these things. I went to friggin' university with a baby, and I'm like, I don't even know how I did all these things, but I'm so settled into this comfort level of like, I'm at home, I'm doing laundry, I'm cooking meals, I'm doing mom things, and it's so comfortable. It's so comfortable that going outside of my comfort zone is just like, I don't want to. It's like so much work. And so I think that there's like, it's not even being disabled, or maybe not even having the comfort of the money. It's just having the comfort that you're like, ugh, it's like, it's hard to get out of. Sorry, you can pin that comment again.
No. I people can read it if they want. What Ryan's just saying, that he agrees. Sense of that is very important to a person's self-worth. And yeah, I was just so reassured, but like with the comments coming in from like, and it was really
Yeah.
nice. I haven't had that much engagement on a video in so long. Like, not, it wasn't like the amount of comments, but the depth that people went into, like
Yeah.
describing how much money they got. Like, oh, I'm really grateful for it, but like, I'm scared to get work because then if I lose my job, I lose all my benefits and I'm stuck in this little, you know, I don't want to say no to the free money, but it's I'm trapped. And I was like, oh my God, I was so stoked that it resonated with so many people, because was scared that people were like, oh my God, you ungrateful bastard, you know, you'd sit at home all day and get paid. And it's nice. I'd rather this than be broke, you know what I mean? But like, it's, yeah.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing. And it's really hard to talk about. It's really hard to talk about something that like can come across as privilege, like you said in the video. Because there's so many people, like I said, that are willing to jump on it. We had not, like, this isn't sort of the same, but it is like, it highlights that people are willing to like jump on you for being entitled when you complain about something when you're disabled. So like, we went to Canadian Tire, which is like a store here in Canada, to buy something, and there was a person parked across the two handicap stalls. So there's like a line, and they were parked right over the line, so they were taking up two handicap stalls, and they didn't have a placard at all. So they weren't like legal to park there. And Joe was so mad about it. And I was just like, oh my God, like, let's just let it go, go in the store. But he was so mad. So he took a picture and then he posted it like on our local, like, community chat, like, this person is dumb. And he was like, I was going to post their license plate, but I'm not. And then most people were very supportive, like, what a jerk. But somebody was like, oh, get over it, move on. Like, you're so entitled, kind of thing. And I'm just like, there's always somebody that's willing to say that you are privileged, entitled, whatever, for complaining about something that makes your life hard. And I think it's just like one of those things that, like, it's so scary to do. It's so scary to talk about your struggles from a place of privilege. And there's many people who like think that people in North America or westernized countries, European countries, don't have a right to complain at all, because we really have nothing to complain about. And so yeah, it's such a weird thing, but obviously people resonate with it, especially like you say, when government benefit or government income is tied to benefits, because that's how it is in Canada. And if you start working, you get stripped of money and you get stripped of your benefits. So there's no like in between where you're like, okay, I can work for like 5 years, save up money so that I have some security. And I know that if I keep working, I have a nest egg that allows me to be comfortable and not be at risk of, bankruptcy or, losing my home or whatever. But that's not what happens here. It's like, oh, the minute you start working, they're like, oh, for every dollar you make, I'm going to take away $1 of government benefits. And then if you get married, like I've been with Joe since university. And when I was in university, my parents' income counted. And then when I met Joe, his income counted. So I've never qualified for government benefits at all, because somebody else's income has always been attached to me. And that's so unfair for them.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Like what I said in the video, it's worth recapping for people that didn't see it. That when I was weighing up getting a job this summer, I was like, I could work 30 hours a week, and I'd only end up working 400. I'd only end up getting 400 euros more than if I didn't work. So like, logically, I'm like, oh well, with working 30 hours a week for 400 euros, that doesn't make sense. I'll just not get a job. But then obviously over the summer, I felt like such a loser because I've not had anything, and I've realized that it might be for just 400 euros more, but it gives me structure, routine, identity, a sense of purpose, challenges to overcome, part of a team, part of a community, like social life. There's loads of things that having a job gives me. But at the same time, I live in a small community here in the French Alps where not a lot of the offices are even accessible, and there's not even that many opportunities for me. So even if I was to get a job, it's a nice safety net to say, oh, you don't have to work, but I want to contribute, I want to have. And also, last week I spoke about, my employer not giving me my job, and I had a little bitch in a wine because it was fresh, and I was like talking about the silver lining. But now the dust has settled, I realized that I'm actually really quite hurt. Like, it hurts that they don't want me back, and it was a job, on the other side of the coin, maybe I'm destined for more. Maybe there's a brighter path. Maybe there is a silver lining. But I'm actually sort of grieving a little bit that they've taken that opportunity away from me. There aren't that many opportunities for people like me in this town. And this was a beautiful, accessible office, a job that I thought I excelled at, that I was proud to work at that company. And then they're like, oh, no, we don't want you back. And I'm like, oh, do you know what? Actually, now the dust has settled, I'm actually really hurt. Like, I'm quite heartbroken about that. It sucks really bad. And now I've got to find something else. And like I say, I'm confident that something will come along and it'll be great. But it's just that uncertainty. And like I said in the video, sometimes I'm scared of failure, but also I'm scared of success, because what if something goes right? There's all these exciting opportunities that make me nervous as well. So yeah, it's just a confusing time in my life.
I think the fear of success is such a weird thing, but so real. Like I'm like that all the time, because I'm less afraid of failure, because I'm like, if I fail, whatever, I just go back to whatever I'm doing now, and I still have family that loves me. I don't care that much. But if I have success, then I have all these people that know, like, are relying on me, or know who I am, or want something from me, and then I have this like, oh my god, there's so much pressure to succeed and keep succeeding. And so I think that's such a weird thing. And it's like that. Remember we were talking about that audition that I did for that movie?
Yeah.
I'm still like, I'm so curious, because my agent hasn't heard, but I'm like, I don't know whether I want it or don't want it. I'm like, do I want it? Do I want to travel? I'm like, do I want to go on a movie set? I'm like, this is scary. And then I just got like another audition request, and it's like a 10-page script that I have to like learn. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh my God, this is so hard, but it's also so fun. Like, I'm like, it's hard, but fun at the same time when you're learning something new. And it's such a weird thing to be scared, but excited at the same time. And the pressure seems like it's like crazy, but I work well under pressure. Like, if somebody's like, give you a deadline, do this in like 2 days, you have no other choice, I'm like, I will get that shit done all day long. But if somebody's like, you can do it however you want, whenever you want, then I won't do it. So I'm like, I think I need a little bit of pressure. But I almost took my headphones out. But I just don't know how much pressure I want, because I don't like
Yeah.
so much pressure that I get overwhelmed. So I don't know.
Totally relatable. I went camping last night actually, and I was thinking, I had like this thought about if I went to do this croupier training, and all of a sudden I just couldn't understand the French. Like my French is okay, but when I'm surrounded by French and people talk French between themselves and they don't speak slowly, I get really underwater. And I remember thinking, what if like after day two they're just like, I'm really sorry, you're just not up to it, and they just cut. I would feel such a loser. I would feel such a sense of failure. Like obviously you fail if you don't try. If you try and you fail, then it's like a pat on the
Yeah.
back for trying. But I was really overwhelmed with like what if this doesn't work out? It's not like I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, but like I really want this to work out, or at least I want some sort of opportunity to work out. And yeah, it's just quite scary. So I've been procrastinating about like getting like French lessons and sort of like cramming loads of French before I go into it. And I realized that maybe like after day one or day two, something will just click in my brain and like pattern recognition will kick in, and I'll just all of a sudden start flowing in French, because I understand the game of poker, but it's just, I've been in situations before where I've been surrounded by lots of French speakers, and I'm like, oh my god, my French is nowhere near as good as I thought it was, and I'm completely lost. I don't know what anyone's saying, and it is a really isolating feeling. So it's really filling me with a lot of anxiety going for this
Yeah.
opportunity. And that kind of hit me last night, and I was like, oh shit, like, it's scary, like that job gave me a lot of comfort. And
Mhm.
now I'm like let loose, and I'm like, I've got to find my own way, and it's scary. And I think, again, having a disability, I don't want to like blame that, but like it does make it worse, because if I wasn't in a wheelchair, there would be so many more opportunities around here. Like, for example, I worked as a chef, I've worked in construction, I've done loads of like able-bodied jobs, which don't require the language barrier so much,
Mhm.
But this one is probably the furthest outside of my comfort zone I can remember. So yeah, it's just nervous.
I think the French is scary. Like that's a little bit of a scary thing, but ultimately being immersed in like French speaking is the fastest way for your brain to
Mm.
create those neural networks that are allowing you to process large amounts of information at one time. So even though it's like scary to go into those situations because you're like, oh, I can't understand what anybody's saying, you have to keep doing it in order for your brain to be like, okay, I'm filtering this. This is what's happening. But you never really think about, like, this just made me think about how crazy it is that we don't think about how our brain processes information until we're given stuff we're not used to. Like we can go into a room and we can pick up this piece of conversation, this piece of conversation, and we can kind of like get the gist of what's happening. And it's not scary at all when it's our native language. But then when it's something else, we're just like, it's like so much white noise that we're just like, I don't know how to filter this.
Mm.
Um, so I can imagine that's really scary. But I think you'll be okay. I think it just might take a little bit. And even if it doesn't work out at the beginning, like having to go in there and subject yourself to that is the only way that you're going to know. But it would be really scary to be like, get the job and then be like, not be able to follow the game, or you know what I mean? Not pick up on things
Yeah.
that are important. Like I have no idea what it's even like. Are poker games like, aren't people quiet? Do people talk a
Like I
lot?
say, like it's. I think if I make it through the training, I'll like they'll give me a test, and if I pass the training, they'll give me a job. It's not so much the job I'm scared of. It's more the training. It's more like turning up and then like just failing at the first hurdle and just being like, and them just saying, look, I'm really sorry, but you can't. Your level of French is not even good enough to continue the training. Like, and you've
Oh,
booked the accommodation. It's just a bloody complete waste of time and a waste of money. So that is something that's like really scaring me. But I don't know. Like I say, like again, I'm not complaining. The French government has given me like €1,000 towards French lessons, which I still have to use. But for some reason, the administrative process, like the website's like really dodgy. It keeps breaking down on me. Like you've got to prove your identity, even though I'm in the French system, and that little website is like I'm trying to like upload pictures of my ID, and then that just came back and it's saying, oh sorry, it failed. You have to do it again. And there's all these like clunky procedures just to get the French lessons. So it's again, I don't want to complain because the things are there in place, but like when you want to like,
yeah.
oh my god, like it's like less than a month away, I need to get those French lessons immediately, and then you complain about how like clunky the
Mhm.
system is. It's a worthwhile complaint, but it also stinks of like entitlement as well. You're like, oh, I want my French lessons right now.
That's so funny. Does Chris speak French?
Yeah, she's Spanish, so she speaks fluent Spanish and she speaks very very good French. Her mum is French, but she never taught her French as a child, so she speaks good French. She can understand it better than me, but she's not actually like fluent French. Um,
Oh, I was just
yeah,
curious if like if she spoke French, maybe you could be like, I'm only going to speak French in the house for this whole month, or
yeah.
um, if you wanted to only speak French, what like is it realistic where you live, or is it mostly an English speaking community?
No, there's obviously lots of French people here. Like the French outnumber the English, but all of my friends and my community are English people. So
Oh,
it's like like when English people go abroad to like places like in the south of Spain, like they just congregate and they just like take over the little town. That's like what Morzine is. It's like a little English place. And all the French people speak English. Like my landlord always speaks English to me. Like my neighbors speak English to me, my French neighbors. And it's really bad because like I'm in their country and they speak my language to me. It's quite backwards. Like I really should make more of an effort.
um, that's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Languages do scare me. I'm even too scared to like if I go to a restaurant and it's like a French restaurant or a Mexican restaurant or anything. I'm scared to order in whatever language the menu is in. So I'm just like, I
Yeah.
want this. And Joe's like, okay, come on, like you can order what's on the menu. And I'm like, no, I don't want to sound stupid. But yeah, so I'm afraid to speak in other languages, and I can read French really well because I took it all through school, and I can write it. I just can't speak it that well, and I
Um,
can't really listen. Like you say, if people go fast, I'm like, what? No, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know that fear is real for me too. So I can't really imagine having to like go beyond that like hurdle and not be too afraid about it. But yeah, I think you'll be okay. And then, what's the worst that can happen is you
yeah.
fail and then you realize that was hard. So I'm gonna either like work on my French so that doesn't happen ever again, or I'm going to pick something that's like, geared to English speaking.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There's everything to gain and like a certain level of
Very.
embarrassment if I don't do it, but like it's worse if I just don't do it because I'm scared, right? So yeah, it'll be fine. But yeah, I'm just glad that the video I made resonated with people and people just didn't just say, ah, what a loser, complaining about getting free money. Because like I say, the money that they give me is it's a real, like I say, because it is hard for me to get a job. They're like, oh, well, that's fine. Like, we can give you a certain amount, and because I've just moved in here, like, it seems to be a more than reasonable amount because like we live in a very small apartment. But it does limit you. You know what I mean? If we did want to have kids and we wanted to move somewhere with like a garden that was, that kind of that amount of money doesn't change. It's like, hey, I want to step up the ladder. Can you give me a bit more? It's like there's still the
Yeah.
same amount of money, so it kind of does keep you small, but it does keep you afloat. So it's a hard thing to complain about.
Yeah. We have a couple of questions here.
13 hours of private tuition is the answer to that question.
Um, this is such a random thing, and I'm going to do this because I noticed. Sorry, Dane, you're on here, and you said you were born blind. I read that earlier, and I have such a random request for you, but I'm like, I have somebody that like can't see on here, and that I don't. That doesn't happen very often. I am making trivia for International Day for Persons with Disability for my community. I'm part of like the planning committee for it, and I have made some trivia questions around being hard of hearing, being blind, physical disabilities, all that kind of stuff. If you could email me and I could email you my trivia questions for that part about being blind so that I know my trivia questions aren't terrible from somebody like from the perspective of somebody with lived experience, I would really appreciate it. So if you could email me at empoweredpair@gmail.com, I will email you and then we can like chat about that if you're up for it. You totally don't have to, but I was just like, I'm totally gonna like poach this person right now and be like, I need your help because I don't want to be that person that makes questions that are totally irrelevant for that part of, disability. Because I hate when people make questions about physical disabilities that I'm like, that's such a stupid question. So welcome, Dane, and thank you for being a part of our live show. And thank you for
Yeah.
commenting so much. I'm like reading about you as I'm like listening to Fred.
So Chris has a really good question. Do you get the government money if you get a job? So, like I said before, like if I was to get a job, they would take away a certain amount. So I would earn, like, so for example, I would, like I said before, I would earn 400 euros more than I get at the moment for working 30 hours. So I don't get all, like, yeah, it would be great if they just said, you just have all this money for and you're disabled and you can work as much as you want, because that would be great. That would be like,
Yeah.
that would be, but it's again, it sounds, the more I say about it, it sounds like I'm complaining, but it's like, it's a certain amount of money that you get, but if you earn more, then they take it away.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
how it is here too.
yeah.
Yeah, so you can earn, so in Canada or in Alberta, I don't know about Canada because I only know Alberta, the state or the province that I live in. The disability income is around $1,800 a month. That's how much you make. And you can earn $600 a month without being penalized. So you can earn $600 and they'll still give you your government disability income. But for every dollar you earn above 600, they take away a dollar.
Mm,
So for a lot of people, the extra so a lot of people do work to make the extra $600. I mean, that's a lot.
mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. Anyway, we've spoken about this for long enough. You said that you were struggling with something this week. Why don't you have a little chat about that?
it's mostly just like the productivity thing. And the reason that your video resonated so well with me, I was chatting to Fred about how I feel so unproductive because I'm struggling. I haven't worked out consistently. I'm going to say like in a good 2 years, like maybe here and there I've been like, oh, I'm going to work out and I've done it for like 2 months kind of thing. Or if I have some girlfriends that I work out with online that are also paralyzed. And if they're working out, they're leading a workout, I'll hop on the call and I'll work out with them. But like my tendonitis like flared up and then I was just like, I better stop working out, which is never the answer. It's never
Yeah.
the answer for tendonitis. Strengthening your arms is always the answer for tendonitis. But so I stopped working out consistently. I feel so weak and out of shape. And I have stopped basically since last summer. I like lost even no last January. That's when I lost it. When we went to Mexico and I just lost all my like momentum because I got so far behind on my YouTube videos. And then it's just been like, oh, trying to catch up. And I have caught up a few times. It's just trying to stay consistent. And so I'm feeling like, oh my God, like what happened? I was like working out consistently, posting on YouTube consistently, like doing all of these things really consistently, working more as a teacher. And I've worked so much less as a teacher over the last like year and a half. Some months I work a lot, but like I don't even work at all some months. So I'm like, it's just I'm feeling very like what is happening to my life? I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what's going on. And I don't know how to get out of like the hole. It's such a weird thing to like try
Mm,
and claw your way out of. And like you say, I don't want to feel entitled or ungrateful because I have like a wonderful life. And most of the things that I feel like are taking the time away from things that I should be doing that are productive or like vacations and like things like that. So I'm like, it's so stupid to complain that these are, this is taking so much of my time away. And it's like social activities or other things, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know how to get it back. And it's starting to feel like there's a level of discontent where I'm like, okay, this is not cool. I don't feel good about my level of commitment to anything. And it's just awful. So like your video was just like really timely. I was just like, oh my God, more people are feeling like this.
Mm,
But yeah, it's ultimately knowing that you're not fulfilling your potential. Like I know I should be
mm,
working out. I want to be healthy. I want to be productive. I want to do things that make me feel good and like I'm putting good out into the world and also getting compensated for it. I really do like being a teacher, but it's hard to balance working as a substitute teacher when you don't have a set schedule and also trying to make routine a thing in your life for
mm.
like YouTube and stuff. So I'm just struggling with a lot of that, knowing what should I do? Should I let go of this to make my life to make this better? Or I don't know. It's just hard to know what to do ever. And I'm always all over the place. So
Yeah. That sounds so relatable. Again, it sounds like such an odd thing to complain about, but I feel the same way because I I just feel like the same. Like for example, in the winter it snows here and it sucks, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for it to be summer. And then in the summer it's absolutely boiling outside, and I'm like, oh, it's too hot to go outside. So now I'm like inside and it's sunny, and I'm like, I should, I have been out, like, but it gets really overwhelming. I'm lucky that I can regulate my temperature with a spinal cord
Yeah.
injury, like, but it honestly, it is so hot at the moment. And I just feel like, oh my god, like I'm complaining it's too hot, it's too cold. But I know exactly what you mean. I'm lucky that I do, like I try to work out and swim a lot. Like I have a consistent schedule of working out, which is really nice. But I like the other things with like YouTube or just being stuck without like like a tangible goal or like knowing that you want to do things that you just don't get them done, and then you've only got yourself to blame, and then you're complaining about stuff, and you're like, oh, come on, get it together. You've only got yourself to blame. Like, so yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And you just get stuck in a rut, and I can relate to that. But yeah.
Even just like I haven't planted a garden in like 2 years, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, I just don't know how. And I keep feeling like I don't have time to plant a garden. I'm never home, but I'm like, I am home. Like I'm home 5 days a week, and sometimes we're gone on the weekends, and sometimes we're gone, for longer periods of time. But I'm like, I do have time. I do have time, and a lot of the time, to be honest, it's because I'm dicking around on my phone or doing stuff that's not important. Like it's just so dumb. Like I keep deleting social media off my phone, and then I put it back on to do something that like I have to go on and answer something from like somebody who sent me something on Instagram, and I only have my phone with me or whatever, and then I just don't take it off. And I'm like, it's annoying. So then I get like sucked into stupid shit that I'm watching that I don't even care about. Like I just don't care about. And but it's so hard to like put it down. And it's like, I tell my kids this all the time. Like Jamie will be like watching a series on TV, and she'll be like, I have to go watch more before I go to bed. And I'm like, no, that's just like the dopamine thing telling you that you like have to watch another thing. But then like 10 minutes after you turn it off, you don't care. You're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's always what it's like with my phone too. Like, I'm just like, no, wait, I have to finish reading this article or watching this YouTube video. And then when I turn it off, I'm like, I actually don't care. And yesterday I like basically didn't turn my phone on at all. I answered some emails and stuff like that, but I got like a million loads of laundry done. I cleaned the entire house. Like I cooked a bunch of stuff. Like I did so much crap. And I'm just like, if you just focus, then you can get literally everything you want done. And I follow like so many people who are like amazingly productive. And this girl that I follow, who's like, I think she's 21 now, but she started a business when she was like 16 years old, a real estate business. And by the time she was like 19, she had a social media marketing business that was worth like $5 million a year. And she was like 19 years old. And she gets up at like ungodly like hours. Like she gets up at like 3 a.m. to do like really productive work until like 10. And she works out. Then she comes home and does other stuff. And she works like 12-hour days. And I'm always just like, I think I have too much relaxing built into my like thing. And I've made my brain tell my body that like my body is going to break down if I have too much to do or something like that. And it's the opposite. Like I feel like your brain, your body, all of those things thrive when you are working and doing productive things and being busy, because my body always feels better when I'm like exercising. Even when I'm like, when I was like wheeling around Disneyland, or I had to wheel there and back up a big hill and all that stuff. And I'm never like, oh my God, I'm so sore. My muscles are like, thank you. Like use me. Like, I don't want to sit around anymore. So yeah, being productive is good for your brain. Everything is good. Being busy is good for you. I see so many people who don't have anything to do. Their body breaks down. Their brain starts to, fail, and as they get older they start to lose their memory and all that stuff. Like you have to have challenges.
Yeah.
I think
What you said is so relatable, and I feel almost ashamed that it's relatable, but I'm so glad that you suffer with the same thing, because it sounds like such a lame thing, but like I do get distracted by my phone. I feel like it's probably like a net negative in my life, but it's where I do everything. Like there's so many things that it helps me with, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's the ultimate distraction, and it just sucks my time. Especially, so actually, I was asking ChatGPT the other day, because I was like, no, honestly, I talk to ChatGPT a lot, and it knows me really well.
Yeah.
And it was saying, because I listened to this podcast about the new ChatGPT, and it said these are the questions that you can ask ChatGPT about yourself. So it was really interesting. I was like, reflect back on like all the things that you know about me, and it was giving me like this wonderful insights into my own psyche or what it believes, and it was really good. It said, you will overcome your YouTube addiction, but it won't be through willpower alone. It will be through finding something that replaces it, something more engaging that replaces YouTube. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because at the moment there is a void in my life. So like when I get bored, I just flick on YouTube and I start watching YouTube videos. But like, that was such an interesting insight. Again, I don't know if it's true. It could just be like a large language model just spitting out nonsense. But it said, what it read with me. I was like, you will never do it, but with willpower alone. You have to find something that's more engaging, and then you will stop doing it. And I was like, wow, yeah, that really makes sense, and that's what I want. I think that's what I want. Like, I've got, okay, I keep saying it, untapped potential. You know, I get bored, but I want something to channel my energy, like that's engaging and rewarding. Like I want a feedback loop of goodness. You know, a job would fill that role so much. You know, like structure, routine. You know, like all the things I mentioned earlier. But instead, I'm just like, oh, you know, I do a few things around the house, and I have bursts of productivity. Like you say, one day I'll clean the house from top to bottom. I'll make all the food. I'll batch make food for the week. I'll go to the gym. And then some days I'll just watch YouTube all day, and I'll be like, oh, you loser, you know, why couldn't you have been as productive as yesterday? And you just have these like ups and downs, and yeah, it's so relatable. Yeah. It's wild. So
I find how I start my morning is so critical. If I don't have my phone, I don't take my phone to bed. So I that is a habit that I've solidly stuck to for years, because I can't sleep if I do. I'm the person that will wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God, I should Google what that lump in my arm is or something. Just like, I get these weird things. And if I know I don't have my phone near the bed, I'm like, that I can deal with that in the morning, then I'll go to sleep. Or I'll read my book. So I'm very good at that habit. But if I get up in the morning and I grab my phone, then it starts with what's this email? What's this thing? What's anything that I can possibly Google or buy or anything like that? And it's just like, even just like purchasing habits, like I need to not look around at things, because my brain immediately is like, you need that. Oh my God, if you don't buy that coat right now. And I'm not a huge shopper or anything. So I'm like, normally okay. But if I go often enough, I'm one of those vulnerable people to like sales stuff. Cause I'm just like, I can't say no, because I'm just like, I need that. What if I need that? And so it's like, everything about the internet is just like really crazy to me. And I've been doing this same old rigmarole for years and years and years. Like I read a book ages and ages ago, like when my kids were like 2 and 6, about like this lady who got addicted to like the internet and all of that stuff. And I read that and I like totally stopped all of my like internet browsing and like all of that junk. And then it just like creeps back in. Like it's such a insidious, annoying part of our life that like it's so helpful that we're like, you have to have your phone for shit, because there's like, your calendar is on there, your reminders are on there, your like pictures are on there, all the things that you need are at your disposal on there. So you have to have it. But then the notifications are also dinging away and all the distraction. And it's like, you have to actively, it's like eating healthy and not getting like toxins in your body. You have to actively try not to be like filled with toxins now. Like unless you are cooking home cooked meals, making sure that you're not buying a bunch of processed food, you have to actively work at not being contaminated with shit today. And it's like with your body or your brain. And it's just such an annoying thing that like so much energy is spent like fending off that stuff. Like at one time you had to seek it out, and now you have to fend it off like at every corner. You're like, get out of here.
So annoying. Like you said something there that reminded me when I was like on the website on my laptop, and it was saying, oh, you've got to verify your identity to get these French lessons. Then it came up with a QR code, and it's like, scan your phone and download this app. I was like, I don't want to download the app. Why can't I do it on the browser? Like I'm right here. Like I could upload a photo from it. No. Scan the. I'm like, how do you assume that I've got a smartphone? What if I didn't have a smartphone? It's like, well, everyone's got a smartphone. But if I didn't have a smartphone, then I wouldn't even be able to like verify my identity. And I'm like, when it flashed up with the QR code, I was so annoyed, because I was like, I don't want to download another app. But again, it's part of daily life now. And I don't mean to complain, but like, it was just this thing that I didn't want to like. I'd want another excuse to look at my phone, like even though it's verifying my identity, uploading the and on my phone has a camera. But like, it was just, you know what I mean? It's just like, stop it. Like you.
I know. You can't even go shopping. Like I went school shopping with my kids, like for clothes and shoes and stuff. And I'm like, everywhere you go, they need your email for everything. And then I have like 10 new stores that I have emails from. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, I'm just like, get out of here. And I have like a million things in my email that I have to like, I don't even know where I don't remember signing up for that email list. And I'm just like, oh my God, there's everybody selling everything. And part of being a person that wants to start an online coaching program or whatever, I don't want to be one of those people that like just has another thing for somebody to buy or do or whatever. And I'm just like, but I want to help people and I want to do it. So it's such a like weird thing for me because I'm like, I don't want to be part of the problem, but we're part of the problem because we're the thing that somebody is distracting themselves with while they should be doing something productive. But I'm also like, I don't know. It's really hard. I don't know. People in the comments weigh in. Are we distracting you from your real life? Like, are we just a thing that you're just like, oh, I shouldn't have watched that hour of YouTube? I don't know.
Yeah.
I never know.
I know what you mean. I've got a little video. This is change gears real quick. I got a little video there that I uploaded because I went camping last night and transfer on 9 grams of mushrooms.
Oh my God! What? That is a lot.
I wasn't going to mention that. Never mind. Yeah, that is a lot. Kids don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
But this is me last night. We went camping.
Go on, my son.
Your legs aren't spazzing out though, like.
Yeah. So I
Okay, well.
So I had
I'll just use this one.
a little trip last night. We went camping. It was really fun. But I just wanted to
It's not too bad actually.
show a little video of like how I was
Yeah.
getting on the floor.
Did you sleep in a tent?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But now look at them. They're relatively well behaved.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There we are. That's
Yeah, one.
where we were. Really nice.
Did
View
you
of the
just go?
mountains.
Did you just go like anywhere? Like you just parked somewhere and camped?
That's like that's like about an hour away from like 20 minutes away from where we live. We just drove up. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like a campground or like a designated camping area. It's just crown land or just like government land or whatever that you can camp on.
Yeah. We just drove up. There's like yeah, it's really nice.
Okay, so I'll tell you some crazy stuff that's happening in Canada right now. If anybody's Canadian and they live on the East Coast. So Nova Scotia is a province here in Canada, a very small one that's dealing with some forest fires. They have now implemented a law that if you go hiking anywhere on government-owned land that you don't have to pay to go camping in, you get fined $25,000. So if you're caught walking in the woods, you get fined $25,000 because most forest fires are started by humans. And then Newfoundland, they just upped the ante. Now it's $100,000 and 6 months in jail if you go camping on crown land, like just the land that you live in. And I'm like, what is happening here in Canada? So it is crazy. I think it's crazy. I think it's absolute bullshit. I'm like, you're like, that's a human right to be able to like walk on the earth that you live in. And not go to jail for it. So like you could literally murder somebody in Canada in that province, literally murder somebody, and potentially go to jail for less time.
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy. Anyway, I was like, oh, you can just, put up your tent somewhere without getting fined $100,000. Great.
Yeah. No, it's good.
It's crazy. That's insane. But, yeah, I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know why they're doing that to stop forest fires. I mean, find people who are smoking or find people who are having fires in areas where they're not supposed to. Find people who are driving like dirt bikes and leaving sparks and all that stuff. But don't find the people who are walking their dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's nice. I've got
It's
another
crazy.
little video. It's not really that exciting. It's actually quite boring, but I'll talk over it. But yeah, I know that some people get funny when I say this, but I'll just say it. I took some mushrooms last night, and I normally just do them at home because my legs get really spazzy, and I thought, you know what? I haven't taken mushrooms like in the wild, in like nature, in so long. I was like, come on, let's go. So Chris drove us up, and I was like, see what happens, like see if it's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. We'll go home. But it ended up being like really, really fun. We ended up like looking at the stars, like seeing lots of shooting stars and stuff, and then yeah, my legs weren't actually that spazzy, and this is like a really comical attempt at a transfer. I think it gets better. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, amazing. Not bad, no?
Good, actually. Pretty impressed with myself.
I should do a video right after this to see if I'm too weak to get back in my chair because I'm so out of shape. I should like do a video and be like, can I actually get back in my chair from the ground because I'm so utterly out of shape. Good job though. Yeah, good job.
Yeah, thanks. Like, it was interesting because like I don't really look very high there, but I was really quite high. I was like, whoa! But it was nice. It was interesting to be outside. Like before my accident, I used to enjoy psychedelics in nature, and it was so nice to be outside. But like, I can't remember the last time I was actually out because I was so scared of like being out and something going wrong. But it was really nice to just like push outside the comfort zone a little bit, and I was just like, oh, this is really nice, and yeah, putting up the tent, and it was manageable. It was very nice.
I am curious if you're ever worried about having like a bowel accident when you're on mushrooms, because doesn't it like affect your digestion?
But I'm on the carnivore diet, so
Are you doing carnivore again?
yeah, I've been doing the carnivore diet for a couple of weeks now. I've wanted to like try and get a bit more lean. It was just like such an easy diet. You were saying to avoid processed foods. It's such an easy diet to avoid processed foods. It's just like if it ain't meat, you don't eat. So it's like eggs, cheese, and lots of meat. And yeah, it's just like more like an elimination diet, and it's very easy to follow. So yeah, and that hasn't really clogged me up, but it slowed my bowel program down a lot. Like slowed my bowel movements down. So I wasn't worried about shitting myself, but if I had, it would have been funny. Would have been a funny story.
Can you imagine cleaning yourself up way out there? Oh, that would have been bad. But no. The one and only time I ever tried mushrooms was like a microdose, and we were outside, and it was kind of neat because I like got very like, other than my legs spazzing, which I hated, because I couldn't, like, they were so spazzy that I could barely cath or anything. They wouldn't stop bouncing. So I'm like, I can't imagine if I did more than a microdose. So yeah, it just wasn't for me. I was like, I don't know how people put up with this. And then, my friends were like, you didn't do enough to have enough fun that your leg spasming didn't matter. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so.
I feel like I agree a little bit. Like, yeah. It's weird because sometimes like I've done it and my legs are so spazzy, it is so annoying. But I'm at home and I'm like, sweet, I'm just at home, and like my legs are like really stiff and they spaz a lot. I'm sitting in my bed, I'm journaling, I'm like I'm listening to music, I'm having a really nice introspective time. But I'm thinking, oh, I'm glad I'm not outside right now. But then last night I was like, this isn't too bad at all. I feel like, yeah, this is totally manageable. So anyway, I'm not trying to influence anyone. If you have a spinal cord injury, please do your research before you take any psychedelics. It's generally speaking not a very good idea. I've got a low injury. I don't suffer with autonomic dysreflexia. So, I want to put like a big caveat. I'm not trying to encourage drug use. But
no, yeah. And I've talked to a few people. The leg spasm thing is almost universal. So like that's a high expectation. I'm just gonna see if we have any like comments.
So one of the other things that happened at the weekend was we went to a kid's first birthday party, and it was really nice. Like I've been hanging out with kids more recently, and it was interesting because I as you know, I really want to be a dad. I really want to encourage Chris to start a family with me. I think it'd be really, really lovely, like so beautiful to start a family, be a dad, like really, really excited to take that next step. But when I was at this party, I remember like two big lads had to lift me over the fence to get into the garden, and then because the garden was like inaccessible, I was like thinking, shit, if that was my kid and he was like going towards the barbecue, I wouldn't even be able to stop him from burning himself. And it just really put me in a situation where I got like quite emotional, because I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be ready to be a dad. Even though I know you, I know Brian, I know loads of other people with disabilities who've had children, it made me feel like I don't want to put an extra burden on Chris to like do more than me, because I'm in a wheelchair and there are some very physical limitations. And like you've said before, like you miss out on things with your kids. Like there were like dads like getting in the paddling pool with their kids, and I was like, well, could I get in the paddling pool? Like literally I could, but then I'd be soaking wet, and would I get back in my wheelchair? Like it's just like I don't know, it just filled me with doubt, and like I was like so excited, but I was put in this situation where I was like, oh shit, like I don't know if I'm ready, or I don't know if it's a good idea. Like maybe, maybe it's not idea to be a good idea to be a wheelchair dad, even though I feel like that's just self-doubt creeping in. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think those things are all things that you figure out. I mean, like, I did certain things with my kids when they were little that were safe and I felt comfortable doing, going to parks and stuff like that. But every once in a while, like, you would get stuck in a situation. I remember going to a park with Jacob when he was like maybe 3, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And the park had sand. Couldn't get anywhere near the playground equipment. So I was just sort of like skirting the outside. And Jacob went up and played on it. And it was like our first little experiment. We go to the park by ourselves. And of course, he got up on the highest part of the playground and got scared and couldn't get down. And I'm like, dude, I can't help you. Like, you are up there until somebody comes to help. And he would not get down. And like, so somebody came by, sooner or later. And I was like, hey, can you help my kid? He got stuck up there and I can't get over there. And I have no idea whether the people were like, what a terrible mom. Why would she even take her kid to the park if he's so little? And I don't remember what I was thinking at the time. I just remember asking people for help and being so grateful. One time Jacob ran away from me in the grocery store and an old lady stopped him. And then she was like, never run away from your mom again. You have to help your mom. And so I was like, oh, thanks. You helped me out there so much. You gave him crap too. A kid like Jamie had a temper tantrum in the library and wouldn't leave. And somebody else had to put her in my car. So there's definitely times that people are going to help you. But I just think it's an extension of like the help I get now. And I've never, ever had anybody ever say that I shouldn't be a mom or that I'm a bad mom or anything like that. But I have had plenty of friends who are quadriplegics have to deal with negative parenting comments about like, you have no business being a parent. It's unsafe for you to be alone with your kid and all that stuff. And my answer always to those like negative naysayers is like, have you taken first aid? Because like a lot of people are like, you couldn't save your kid from choking or you couldn't save your kid from a fire and all that stuff. And I was like, there was a fire when I was like 9 years old in my house. There was a grease fire in the kitchen. My mom stood there screaming her head off. And me as a 9-year-old went in there, put the lid on the pot, stopped the grease fire, and like saved the day. Because my mom was totally freaking out. So I'm like, able-bodied parents are not necessarily any better in emergency situations. And as long as you plan for that kind of stuff, then you'll be fine. I mean, we can't plan for everything, but we're not supposed to be able to plan for everything. So don't let all of those like little things, the overthinking, the seeing what other parents can do, prevent you from like having kids. Because like 90% of the stuff that parenting requires, reading bedtime stories, teaching your kids how to cook, taking them to the park or going on field trips as a parent, those things are all things that you can do. Does it look a little bit different? Sure. But also my kids are so helpful. Everywhere we go, people are like, your kids are extremely helpful. Yeah, because they have to be. And other kids can just be total like assholes and not ever learn to do anything. So I feel like kids with parents that have disabilities often end up being more respectful, more helpful, and ultimately like more inclusive as they grow up. Like they're just more understanding of differences.
I hope that's the case. I don't want to like offend anyone, but I do kind of see the point when people say that. Like if you're like quite disabled, like is it the right thing to have a child? If you like if they fell in a canal and you couldn't like jump in and save them from drowning. Like I know that's an extreme case, but like that's the sort of thing that I think of. Like what what if my kid is in danger and I'm like, oh, there's a step, like or some sort of benign obstacle that like prevents me from saving them from danger, imminent danger. Like does that makes me like a little bit less of a parent, right? Like it does count. Like on the scale of like protector, it does put me lower down on the spectrum. And so there is a point to that, like because I feel that self-doubt. Like I say, I wouldn't want to prevent anyone having a kid or think or say it's irresponsible, but I get that feeling. Like I'm like, is it the right thing for me to do? And Brian Kinney had a great point when he said his daughter broke her leg doing gymnastics, and it was over the other side of the gymnasium, and he was like, oh fuck, is she broken her neck? Like what's going on? And he couldn't get over there, and he was just like, what the hell, everyone's gathered around my daughter and he can't just like run over there, and that's his like instinct to just like, oh my god, my daughter's hurt, and just like because it's a gymnasium, he's there's so many physical obstacles in the way of him getting there. He's just like, is she all right? And you just feel like bloody useless. So I that is something I'm quite scared of, if I'm honest.
I will say it's pretty awful when your kids go in a situation where you can't physically get to. Like I took my kids they're older now, very good swimmers. We went to a lake and there's like a bouncy obstacle in the middle of the lake. And they had to get out there on their own. They were old enough. Everybody on there has to be wearing life jackets. But I'm like sitting there watching with other parents and I'm like, I have no idea where they are. I can't even see them out there. So I was like zooming in on my phone to like see where they were. And it's awful in those situations. Jamie went like tobogganing once at a hill that I normally don't take the kids to because normally I park right where I can see them sledding. But this one was like the where I could park was here. And it was like probably like 6 feet of snow to get over there. Like I was no wheeling over there. You had to walk. And her and her friend went around the backside of the hill and were sledding, and they were gone for like an hour. And I was like, I phoned Joe and I was like, Joe, you have to come. I'm like, I don't know where they are. I'm like, did they get stolen? And then like, as soon as Joe's like, okay, I'm getting in the car, then they come waltzing back. I'm like, check in. Like, why were you leaving me for an hour in the car? Like, what are you thinking? So certain things like that are very stressful as a parent with a disability. If your kid gets somewhere that you physically cannot get to, it's pretty terrible in terms of like your feeling of helplessness. But I think you have to just like determine the level of safety for the age that they are and all those things. Like one of my biggest fears is that like when my kids were little is that like somebody's going to snatch my child when we're like walking in a busy city or something like that. And I'm like, I could never run after that person fast enough. And so like, I would make sure that like certain things happened, like my younger ones would have to be belted to my lap and like all that stuff. And they were just not allowed to get down. Like that just wasn't, oh yeah, you can walk or whatever. So until Jacob was like, 5 or 6 and I had Jamie that had to go on my lap, they were meant to be like right beside me, belted in. And even then, like I would sometimes like have like a little leash thing that Jacob would kind of wear. And it's just like, it's safety, right? So you have to judge that for yourself and you can decide that. I've asked Joe this question. He's actually on listening right now. You can say, Joe, if you've ever been worried about me, being alone with the kids, like if I was an able-bodied parent, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm leaving my newborn baby alone with like this person in a wheelchair. Like, what if something happens? So I was always like worried about that.
Joe says, self-doubt is normal and even healthy to a certain level, in my opinion. It shows you care and are thinking things through. We all have insecurities and deficiencies in various areas. Cheers, Joe. Yeah. I actually said that because I when this girl was talking about having kids, I got quite emotional. And I had sunnies on, which was handy. But like I remember thinking, oh my God, like this is making me quite emotional. And when I expressed like, I don't want to put extra pressure on Chris. I don't want it to be like unfair. I don't want her to do all the work. One of her friends was like, the fact that you're even thinking like that tells me that you're going to be a good dad. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, well, that's really nice. So I think that kind of sort of leads into Joe's comment, like self-doubt's normal. Yeah. And like it shows you that you care because Otherwise, you just be, well. I think that's the difference. Like when I was wheeling around last week with a little baby on my lap, and there was like a firework display, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, such a cute baby!" And I was like playing dad for half an hour. I was like, "Oh, this is amazing," But then I was put in another position where I was like, "Oh my god, this isn't like just wheeling around somewhere flat with a child on my lap. This is danger central. There's a paddling pool, there's a hot barbecue, there's steps. Like what would I do in this situation?" So it's all right, like playing dad, and then coming home and being like, "We should have a baby," but then like sort of just putting yourself, like, I guess having a more realistic expectation of like, holy shit, you are going to be so far out of your comfort zone that you might not even be a great dad. Like you just assuming you're going to be a great dad because people say, "Oh, you'll be fine." You might actually be, you could be a good dad, but you can't be everything. Like you.
Yeah. I think that the wonderful thing about parenting is that there's the ultimate time to learn and to do it slowly, because kids don't become a toddler in a day. You know what I mean? Like you go through all of the little stages where you're like, "Oh, I'm going to learn how to," like my thing that I had to do was, how do I bath my kid? That was like my first thing. Like, well, how do I bath my kid? In the sink, in the tub? What am I going to do? And then you learn something else that's hard. How do I get my kid off the floor? And each one of the things that, comes up, then you learn that as you go, because those things come up slowly and you can figure out solutions for them pretty easily as you're figuring stuff out. So like, that's one of the nice things about parenting. So don't worry too much about it, because it's never going to be like, Chris is pregnant and now I'm at the barbecue with the hot barbecue and the paddling pool, and I have to figure all this shit out right now, because that's never going to happen. Like you figure out how to pick up your kid off the floor first, and then you figure out how to like wheel with your kid without them falling off your lap. And then you learn how to do all these things that, you have to do as a parent with a disability. And you obviously sound like you want to be a hands-on dad. I mean, like I have a friend who just had a baby with one of my other friends, and he is definitely a hands-on dad. Like he has the baby and carries her around, stuff like that, but he doesn't change diapers. He doesn't get up in the middle of the night. He doesn't get up to do the things that, might be a little bit difficult in the wheelchair, just because he has a wife and she does it. So there's going to be like a balance of things. And there's definitely things that Joe does with the kids that I can't do. And it's just better he gets to go and do that fun stuff, and I get to do other stuff like school shopping and whatever, right? I said to Jamie the other day, don't take offense to this, Joe. I said, Joe, is that like work? And he works right by where we were going to go shopping. And I said, do you want to see if Dad wants to come? She was like, no. I'm like, okay. Like, I was just like, I thought maybe you want Dad to come school shopping. And she was like, why? I was like,
savage.
I'm like, I don't know, because maybe you want to show him your outfits or whatever. And it was just so far from what she was like. Why would Dad come school shopping? Why would he go to, he was like, Dad doesn't like the mall, so why would he come to the mall? So you'll get those things too, where things that is your thing, that's Dad's thing, and there will be other things that are Chris's things.
Yeah. I was gonna say, this is gonna sound like an odd question, but like if you would.
Oh, did I put that comment up on YouTube?
No, it was me. Oh. I just wanted to highlight it. Oh. It was just someone agreeing with Joe. It was the parents that didn't have self-doubt and introspection that had the most issues with parenting. That's experience as a former teacher. I was going to say, would you rather have, is probably not the right way to phrase it, but like, would it be better to have a mum in a wheelchair or a dad in a wheelchair? Do you know what I mean? Like, because mum does, like in the early stages of development, mum is more hands-on, right? So that would be harder for the mum in the wheelchair. But as you grow older, having a dad, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you've got Brian, who's a dad in a wheelchair, and you've got you, who's a mum in a wheelchair. I'm not sure. I think probably being a mum in a wheelchair would be way harder, because in general, generally, mums are more hands-on. But like having it, do you know what I mean? I don't know. That's a weird question, but
I will say that the beginning years, if you're a mom in a wheelchair, are probably more stressful than if you're a dad in a wheelchair, because there's breastfeeding, just feeding in general, and lots of things that, which I don't even know if I've talked about this on my YouTube channel a lot, but like there's lots of things that happen with a spinal cord injury that make breastfeeding not as productive or as easy, and not just like the physical stuff, but actual like milk production and milk letdown and all of that stuff, depending on where your level of injury is. And then there's like higher amounts of C-sections, and that also makes breastfeeding hard. So there's a lot of like things that are just difficult in terms of like parenting and breastfeeding in general. Like I have a friend who's a quadriplegic trying to breastfeed right now, and she has to get somebody else to actually physically bring the baby to her. And they don't, it's not as important to them as it is to her because it's connection for her and all that stuff. So like those kinds of things are hard. But yeah, I think later on being a dad in a wheelchair is probably easier. You're more physically strong. You're generally more physically capable, generally more willing to take risks with your kids. I feel like there's less of a worry component to being a dad in a wheelchair. So you'll go and do just more things, right? That I might not be able to do with my kids. So I think being a mom in a wheelchair is harder at the beginning. And being a dad in a wheelchair is less hard at the beginning, but then later on, you're going to want to keep up with the kids that are doing like all the physical stuff. Whereas I'm like, you can go do, that's a dad thing, right? You can go do that.
Yeah.
Whereas a dad's not going to be like, yeah, you can go do that with your mom. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I want to do that. I want to take my kid camping and I want to do all of these like hiking things and all that stuff. But there's so many people and just examples of dads in wheelchairs that have invented cool things. Like the Bowhead is a cool mountain bike thing. And the reason that he invented it was because he still wanted to go backcountry camping with his little boy after he was paralyzed. So like, I think that dads in wheelchairs get shit done no matter what, right? Yeah. Like they figure out a way to do it. So
I hope so. That's why I kind of think that if I was put in that position, I would rise up to it and I would figure it out. Anyway, great comment from your husband here. None of us are the full package. I am thankful that Britt and I are so complementary of each other and fill in for each other's lacking areas. That's really sweet, man. That's really lovely.
Yeah, we do compliment each other most of the time.
Yeah, that's really nice. Right. Shall we end with the magic trick?
Yes, let's do magic trick.
I've got a dollar bill.
I'm not going to give you a lame reaction this time.
Are you sure? Right, look. So check this out. Okay. This is a trick I did for Brittany recently, and she didn't really like it very much. So look, check this out. I'm going to fold the dollar bill like this. And if I can just get it just right, I can just get it to like levitate a little bit like this.
So much more cool when I wasn't expecting it to go up all the way, like from all of your hands. I don't know why I was expecting that, but it's very cool.
Yeah. Well, you weren't impressed that much last time.
I think it's cool.
Well, I want to try something else because you said that you didn't want it wasn't really levitating, right?
Oh no.
So let me see if I can.
Okay, that is cool. What? Did you figure that out just for me?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's cool. See, that is impressive because that is like that is real levitation.
There you go.
Awesome.
You see how like I get feedback from my tricks, and you're like, "That's not really levitating. That's more like balancing." And then I'm like, "Woo!" And you're like, "All right, that's cool."
That is actually levitating. I wonder if it's static electricity. I don't know whether static electricity could do that. I don't know. You do some cool stuff, but that was very cool. I really liked that. That was an upgrade. So you're welcome.
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Does it work with euros? Good question. Yeah, it does. There's Anyway, that was great. I'm so glad that worked. I was practicing it loads before the podcast, and I'm glad I got a good.
Well, you did good. I feel like there's a couple of comments on here that we missed like right at the beginning.
James is right. There are a lot of us here on Tuesday, and I'm really, really stoked about like the engagement. There's so much more engagement on Tuesday, so like we're going to definitely stick to Tuesdays. Thanks so much, everyone,
Tuesdays
for tuning in.
It's
really great.
James had a comment somewhere that said, "Does Patreon help the equation in terms of like money?" And yes and no. I'm not going to say the Patreon doesn't help or whatever, but personally, I $100 a month from Patreon US right now. And that absolutely does help. And normally what I just do with it is like just keep it in the Patreon account. And then like once a year I take it out to do something with it. Yeah. So
No, absolutely.
it definitely helps, but it's not like changing my life or anything. So
yeah, I feel the same. I get like a little bit less than that, but yeah, the Patreon money is great. Like I say, it's not the fact that it's like the Patreon money feels like I'm earning it because like, and also it keeps me, what's the word? It keeps me accountable for like uploading. I'm like, well, I have to upload a video, not because like you're like, oh well, do I upload a video or don't I? I'm like, well, I've got Patreons, you know, and they're like, and they submit video requests, and it's a lovely community over there. And yeah, the money is just a bit of a bonus, but like it's really nice to have the community and like be accountable for uploads and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. James says Tetra. Yes, that was the nonprofit that I ran before. It's called the Tetra Society, and they make assistive devices for people with disabilities. So like I would recruit engineers and stuff like that to go build devices for free for people that needed modifications in their homes or just any device. But yeah, it was actually the thing that I was looking at that made me be like, oh my God, I did cool things once, was one of our chapter meetings and all of the projects that like we had on the go and the funding applications that I was working on and like all that stuff. And I wasn't even doing it like for a lot of money. I liked what I was doing because I was helping people with disabilities, and I got to work with engineers and learn a lot of cool stuff from what they were doing, and it felt fulfilling. And I just volunteered to do that. Like I just saw that there was like a job that was out there, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. And I did it for many years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jay says, learn French, Fred. I think he was talking about that when I was like, oh, all I do is like look at YouTube. I'm like, yes, that's great advice, Jay. Learn French.
Yes, definitely learn French if you live in France, I suppose.
Oh, it's someone's birthday today. Ginger Kiwi. It's my birthday today. I'm finishing editing my first podcast. Can I share it, please? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
What do you mean? Yeah, like chuck it in the chat. Like,
yeah, chuck it in the chat. What's
is
it
it just
called?
on? Yeah, absolutely. Fred plugs himself into a socket before going about his day. That's how. Yeah, that's how it levitates.
That's really funny.
Like scratching the balloon on top of his head. That's great. Yeah, look, good guesses. Confidently wrong, but yeah, it's magic.
Ginger says teaching is hard. I quit in 2019. Teaching can be hard some days. Some days are like you come home and you're like, never again. And then other days it's like, I love all those kids.
Curb cuts and conversations. We'll put link in the next comment. Excellent. Yeah. We'll check that out.
Curb cuts and conversations. I love that. That's very creative.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm reading through. We had lots of comments today. Way more people here today. So
loads of comments today, which is really good.
Loads and loads and loads. It's hard to even keep up with it. Yeah, I don't think I can read them all.
Yeah.
But yeah. I tried to get Joe to join, but he's like, "What would I talk about today?" And I was like, "I don't know."
He had lots of good input.
He did join eventually, like in the comments. But I was like, "Do you want to come onto the podcast?" Because I'm like, "You're home," and he was like, what would I talk about? And I was like, I don't know. We just make it up like the morning of. And then I got up and he went to work out. So. Wow. Oh my God. That's so cool. That kicks the ass of the other trick. That is so cool.
I'm so glad you like it.
Okay, that is cool. I'm just going to address this comment right here. Are there any jobs for the disabled these days? Would love to know. I think with the online world, there's never been more jobs for people that are disabled. I mean, like, there are people that I know that are virtual assistants. There is a girl that I worked with on the show that I was a part of that was the story runner, and she was severely disabled. She worked in the film industry. One of the directors on the show had no arms or legs. And like he's in the film industry. So I think defining what you can do or limiting what you can do based on your disability, especially with the world today, is mostly a mental game. Like, I think we tell ourselves what we're capable of, and then we just don't strive for more, which I'm so guilty of. So, you know, I'm in that boat too. But I think that there are plenty of opportunities for jobs, maybe not, you know, in physical settings where your disability can be difficult, but I definitely think that there's lots of opportunity. There was a host of a show that I worked on once that was entirely blind, and he was the host of the show. His job was so hard because he had to memorize everything. I'm like, you can't read off a teleprompter. I'm like, I'm so curious how you do this. And he was like, I'm good at memorizing stuff. But he was very cool, and he's a serial entrepreneur. So like, many people that I've met over the course of my life with a disability that you would think would have a hard time finding a job in specific industries, and they have been very successful. So I think there's plenty of jobs for people with disabilities today.
Yeah. Hopefully there's one for me.
Hopefully there's one for you. Yeah, there's one
Yeah,
for you
yeah.
for sure. Not hopefully, there's definitely one for you.
Right. Curb Cuts and Conversations. Liz hasn't put the comment, the link, but you can put the comment in the below. You know. Anyway, we should sign off because it's we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks ever so much, everyone, for tuning in. All your input, it's been lovely. Thanks for listening to us whine about free money.
This was kind of a whiny episode. Sorry, guys. Normally we're like, everything is mindset. Everything you can do is up to you. And this one we're like, but there's so many things that are hard.
Yeah. Well, it just proves that we're human, you know. I think it's nice to, you know, bring the level down and be like, oh, these guys are just human beings. So, all right. Peace and love, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.